today, as I announced a few weeks back, maybe even longer, probably like a month back now, I was going to do a tier list of, ranking basically your choices for different horror villains. So as you can see right here, we're on Tier Maker. And yeah, as you can see, there they are, 22 choices in total, majority of which are from you guys, from the subscribers. But just to round it out, I added in a few more just to kind of flesh out the list a little bit more, just so you guys can see more of my thoughts on more villains in general. But yeah, let's go over these different tier rankings. So worst of the worst, this is trash. For me, these villains, wow. Like, this is where they belong. Terrible, not memorable, laughable, really, just trash. One step above that, who are you? Like, I wouldn't call them trash. I would call these the villains that, yeah, they're not memorable. Maybe they're not the worst or the best examples of a bad villain, but just no memorability, no sticking power in your brain. One step above that, I respect you, but ain't scared. So these are those villains that I either have some history with, some knowledge of, and I'm just not the biggest fan, but they're not as low as the other tiers. Or, honestly speaking, it's a villain on this list that I don't have a lot of experience with. I've heard of them. Every single one on this list I at least have a passing knowledge of, but I've just really heard the name. I haven't seen the film that they star in, and if I have, there's no real memory of it, but it's not necessarily because it's a bad villain. Just wasn't memorable for me. One step above that, almost great. These are those villains that there's just a few things holding them back. Like, I like them, they're good, but there's a few things holding them back from being great. And then moving up to fantastic, in other words, the great villains. Fantastic villains that I love, but maybe they're just more personal favorites. They're not that, as you can see, that top tier, that iconic status. And then finally, the icons. These are the best of the best, the most memorable, the ones with the biggest franchises, the ones with the most lasting power, the ones that throughout history have just been regarded as these are the top villains. And yeah, so without further ado, let's crack into this list. This is in a randomized order, by the way, but right there at the beginning, we have Annie Wilkes from Misery. Okay. Annie Wilkes. I'm going to put Annie Wilkes in... You know what? Let's just start it off. Annie Wilkes, you are going straight up into icon. Yep, I said it. Yeah, I have always loved Misery. The timing of this video is weird. Obviously not going to go into any details. But the terrible passing of Rob Reiner recently. Yeah, I'll leave my thoughts there because I don't want it to get too dark in a real life direction. But just focusing on the work, Misery has always been one of my favorite horror films, one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. And quite possibly my favorite Rob Reiner film. Stand By Me is pretty close. Princess Bride is great, but I think Misery takes the cake, and it's in no short piece because of Annie Wilkes. Kathy Bates as that character, one moment the nice, sweet lady taking care of you, the next moment terrifying, tying you to the bed, torturing you, basically. Just wow. And the ability that Kathy Bates had to capture both sides of that performance perfectly, just for me, makes it that iconic status and just rounds out Misery as a great film. Next up, in the complete opposite side of things, is going to be Children of the Corn. That's, oh god, I can't even, the guy's name is blanking on me, the main one you see right there. Let's not even beat around the bush. Straight into trash. It's just wow. Yeah, Children of the Corn. It's been said a lot how bad that franchise is. Every film is basically just a repeat of the last, and there's like 20 of those things. I'm not even exaggerating that much. It's one of those franchises that is unique in one hand because they just keep making movies, but they keep making the same movie over and over and over again. Like, yeah, there's not really much different pieces outside of, basic premise of the kids turn evil for some reason and start killing the adults, killing their parents, and yeah, and then we go from there. The original is the one I've seen, but I know of the storied history of how much of a train wreck that franchise is. Ooh, okay, here we go. Freddy Krueger. Once again, I'm not trying to make this a bottom and top heavy list, but yeah, we can't not put Mr. Krueger in nothing less than icon. I've talked about it before, but Nightmare on Elm Street was never my franchise. It was never like, I was never a nightmare kid. Ironically, I was the opposite. I dived through every franchise, Scream, Halloween, Friday the 13th, what name you, multiple different franchises, but Nightmare was always the one I avoided because the concept of Freddy Krueger invading your dreams, the place that, is supposed to be your safe space. Wow. Nope. I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. Keep me as far away from that franchise as possible. But over time, I've dived into it, watched the first one, fell in love with that one. Kind of watched the second one. I don't know if I've ever actually seen the second one all the way through, but I've seen most of it. That, it's one of those weird films. But Freddy in that film is arguably his most dark and terrifying. Then the third one, Dream Warriors, iconic film with an iconic portrayal. In that one, 4 and 5, I recently just watched. Yeah, we're starting to get in that train wreck territory. I still have to finish off the back half of that franchise, and I'm not, I'm not excited for Freddy's Dead because I know, once again, the storied history. But focusing on Freddy Krueger, Icon. He's terrifying. He's funny. You know, a little bit too over the top as the franchise went on, but in those original entries, 1, 3, terrifying and humorous in equal doses. Brilliant performance by Robert Englund. Okay, next up, we've got, okay, here we go. Okay, I'm wearing this shirt. I haven't actually talked about this as much as yet on the channel, but yeah, here we go. Ghostface from Scream. And for me, straight up into Icon. Okay, I'll try to keep this as quick as possible because I want to dive in a little bit more in later videos when it's more about that. But Scream is my favorite horror movie of all time. It's my favorite film of all time because in large part, it's the movie that made me a horror fan, that got me into scary movies. I mean, it's like what I say at the end of every video. What's your favorite scary movie? That's directly from Scream. I love this movie. And Ghostface, I don't know, there's something about that look, that appearance, the mask. It's just, it's large part, you know, not entirely, but it's largely, there's that nostalgia because it was my first real horror movie. It's the one that got me into horror. It's the one that made me enjoy watching scary movies when I was scared as a kid. It's the one that got me into this. I wouldn't be making videos like this without Scream. And yeah, that look, that dark humor, those, you know, the trivia questions connecting to horror, that self-referential humor. And yeah, just obviously this isn't a big spoiler, but if you haven't really seen the Scream franchise, in every movie, Ghostface is a different person underneath the mask, but it's always that same look. And for me, it's just always been peak iconic status. Okay, okay, now this is when things get a little bit tricky. We got Gary Oldman's Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay, I'm gonna put this up in fantastic. It's not, for me, full iconic status. Just, yeah, I don't know. It's not my all-time favorite Dracula. But, I don't know, you can't take away anything from Gary Oldman's performance. This is kind of the most iconic look. Him and his like introduction right there. And like this is the appearance, you know, famously parodied by The Simpsons. But there's the other looks. There's the more gentlemanly one where you know, he first gets to England and he's got the glasses and the top hat and all of that, and then there's other looks throughout the film. But yeah, great movie, great portrayal. Gary Oldman has always been able to just transform himself into different characters, you know, similar to Christian Bale. He's one of those actors that can just transform into the character and just become that person. And he became Dracula, without a doubt. I know the film has its kind of, it's a bit controversial, polarized, but yeah, fantastic portrayal. So right up there and fantastic. Okay. We've got, okay, Jason Voorhees. Okay. You know what? I'm kind of following a theme here, so I don't want to go against what I've set up already. Jason is going to go up into iconic. You know, I have more history with Jason than I do Freddy. Put Freddy up there. Got to put Jason right there next to him. He is the slasher villain. I mean, you know, of course there's Michael, who largely originated that. But Jason was the one that made it a franchise, that like made it like slashers are franchises. The slashers are the films with multiple sequels. Slashers, that is what a slasher is, and Jason defines that completely. My favorite portrayal, this is, I think, a picture from Freddy vs. Jason. Not my favorite by far. My favorite's going to be part 4. Blanking on the name. I want to say Ted White. Hopefully I got that right. That's my favorite portrayal. Equal parts, like brutal, hulking, silent killer, but not yet fully supernatural as you get, you know, part 6 forward, but still fantastic. Yeah, so iconic. Okay. Leprechauns. Okay. We're gonna put Leprechaun in, honestly, Who Are You? Sorry. Yeah, I know there's some people that, like, once again, polarizing, but leaning negative. Honestly, not a film I've seen. Not a franchise I really have any experience with, but once again, of course, I know who it is. But to be fair, the highest I can put is Who Are You? I'm not going to trash it because I don't know it, but it goes to Who Are You? Ooh, okay. The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing from '82. The named thing from that film. Okay. Okay. This is what I'm thinking. Might regret this later, but this is what I'm thinking. We're gonna put The Thing in Fantastic. Okay. The poster's right behind me. Once again, cat out of the bag. The Thing is my second favorite horror film of all time. So, you know, why not iconic? For me, the film, definitely, like I said, second favorite horror film of all time, one of my favorite movies overall of all time. But for me, it's less about, you know, how iconic is the villain. And it's more about just how iconic and great the film is overall. So I'm putting it in Fantastic, you know, in large part because of that, because the appearance is constantly shifting. So it's not exactly an iconic look because it keeps changing. But, and then also there's no really personality behind it. It's like, you know, speechless, basically nameless, figureless. It keeps changing appearance. So I think Fantastic is where it's going to have to go. Okay, Michael Myers, I'm, you know, not going to let's just do straight into iconic. Yeah. Like I said, Scream, that's my guy. That's my favorite. That's my original. But right below that is going to be Michael Myers. Like, that franchise, even, here's the thing about Michael Myers. Even the bad films, it's not necessarily Michael being the bad part about that film. So let's just kind of like throw out some popular like movies for bad Halloweens. So we got the Rob Zombie remakes. In that original, you know, say what you will about the film, not the biggest fan myself, but that version of Michael is brutal, intense, and very dark, and a good portrayal, if not a good film. Definitely like the back half when he has like the full mask, not the like kid version or anything like that. But when he's got the full Michael mask, great. And like I said, bad movies. Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers, not the best film. Very, very mixed to say the least. But Michael in that film is intense. He's not just like slowly walking, like he's speed walking. He's coming for you. Another one, even the David Gordon Green recent like entries, 2018 Kills, Ends, those films kind of like dwindle as the series went on, as the trilogy went on. But in the first two, Michael is incredible. Less so in Ends, kind of got a little bit screwed there, but in Kills, as controversial as that movie is, he's great in that film. So yeah, iconic right there. Next up, okay, it's going to be Norman Bates from Psycho. And for Norman, we're gonna do Fantastic. Okay. So I think I've talked about this before. If not, well, here we go. Norman Bates is a fantastic villain, personally, in large part because of that performance in Psycho 2, which is my preferred of the movies. Haven't seen the full franchise, but of those first two movies, you know, the iconic original Psycho and then Psycho 2, the less popular, but to me, you know, less so now, but underrated film, is in no short reason of Anthony Perkins' performances in both films. Iconic in both. But the first one, it's that more subtle portrayal that he brings to it. But in the second one, Norman Bates just gets fleshed out. Like in that first one, he's the main, you know, antagonist. He's the villain. But in terms of screen time, it's a little bit mixed. He kind of has to share it with other characters like Marion Crane's sister, or the detective. You know, there's a little bit more shared screen time. Whereas in Psycho 2, he's the focus. The majority of the screen time is on him. So we really get to see that character fleshed out. And the character we get is fantastic. So, yeah, right there in fantastic. Next up, we got Pennywise from the 1990 miniseries. I put them both on here, if you noticed. But let's focus on 1990 first. Okay. For me, I'm going to do Almost Great. You'll see my thoughts later as it goes on. But the Tim Curry isn't my preferred portrayal of the character. Iconic for the time. Like, you know, that original 1990s miniseries, it's a TV miniseries. So, you know, made for television performance, couldn't go as, you know, intense, adult as the movies could. So Tim Curry had to be a little bit more reserved with what he was able to do. But what he was able to do stretched to the limits of television for sure, and was and is terrifying. So for me, we're going to say Almost Great. Annabelle. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Trash. Yeah, sorry. I know. Very popular franchise. We got the Conjuring movies, we got the Annabelle movies, we got all of those crossover spin-offs, whole thing. Overall, Conjuring franchise, I've talked about the original, love that one. As the franchise goes on, spin-offs, never been my thing. We're not talking about it today, but Quickly the Nun, Annabelle, just get out of here. I'm sorry. That the second one, I think, one of them, I think it's okay. Rest of them, like, So yeah, sorry, trash. Okay, picture's not the best. It's kind of cut off, but the Xenomorph. Yeah, we're just gonna go straight icon. Okay, like, similar to Michael, every time the alien is in the movie, it's never usually the alien that's the bad part of the movie. Okay, let's talk about some really bad pieces of the movie, or bad movies. We've got Alien 3. But the aliens itself in there, that's not the bad part of the movie. It's not. They're still as terrifying as the first two. Not a good film, but Xenomorph isn't the issue. So iconic right there. Another one off the top of my head, we've got the Alien vs. Predator movies. Not the best. Got some nostalgia there. Maybe not the second one, but got some nostalgia there. Overall, though, not good films. But once again, Xenomorph, not the issue. It's terrifying. This is the one tied a lot to Freddy Krueger, where I avoided that franchise. Like, the Predator films, yeah, fine. Like, the crossovers, fine. But the Alien films itself, I was like, whoa, no. I've seen clips of that. I've seen it in the bad ones. I don't want to see it in the really good ones because I know how scary it's going to be. Nope, avoided it for a while, but finally going through that franchise, wow, it's as terrifying as I thought it would be, and just goes straight up there into iconic status. Oh shit. Okay. I want to say it's called Splinter. Maybe Sliver. Apologies. This was suggested to me by one of you guys. Honestly, I'm just going to be respectful and put it, who are you? I really don't know. I've heard of the movie. Seen some clips. I recognized the hand. Haven't seen it. I know it's James Gunn, one of his early works. I think, once again, I don't really have a lot of experience with this one. Yeah. I just have to put it on Who Are You? Don't have the experience. Okay, so I used the picture from Night of the Living Dead, but overall I'm just talking about zombies. So, zombies. For me, I gotta do Almost Great. So, I've done a ranking, I've talked about zombies, but I don't know if I really shared in that video. Zombies have never been my favorite. I don't know, I got burned out by The Walking Dead. And I don't even know what season I dipped out in. Maybe around Negan. It was just like, I'm out. I'm just too much. Then, fortunately I found some of the older stuff, some of the Italian stuff, got back into it, but overall zombies, it's just not my thing. But have a lot of experience with zombie movies. So Almost Great, I think, is a good place because for me, not iconic, not the best villains, but I don't feel comfortable putting it anywhere lower than that, especially because I'm not going to do it in Ain't Scared, because zombies can be terrifying. Like Train to Busan, so no, Almost Great is where we're going to keep the zombies. Okay. This one is a little bit more of a deep cut. If anybody's not heard of these guys, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, independent film from the 80s. Honestly, kind of for the laughs. I'm going to put it in I Respect You But Ain't Scared. It's kind of where it fits. It's not trash, because there's some humor there. It's not Who Are You, because I know who they are. But am I scared of the clowns? The killer clowns? No. Pennywise? Yeah. Okay, that's a scary clown. These guys... Oh, God. Another scary clown, though. Forgot about this guy. Okay, Art the Clown. I recently I recently watched the Terrifier movies for the first time, all three this year. Kind of just avoided it for a while, didn't think it was going to be my thing. I don't know, just dived in. And wow, I was actually, that first one's rough to get through. Second one, still rough, but, there's something growing there. And I'm going to be talking about this in a future video, but the third one, the most recent one, I don't know. There's something about that film that I personally find it the best of the franchise. I feel like the story's there the most. The characters are there the most. Art's probably better in number 2, but he's still good enough in number 3 that I'm like, yeah, let's end. I don't know, just overall, that was probably my favorite, but focusing on Art. Okay, here's the thing. Do I go with the consensus? Do I go with me? This is my list. So we're going to know how I'm feeling, and I'm going to say fantastic. Arguably, Art the Clown's, he's not iconic status. He's reached that by now. I mean, you go to Spirit Halloween, you go to Spencer's, Art the Clown's there, right up with Ghostface, Freddy, Jason, Michael. He's up there. He's with them. But for me, it's not that I don't think he's iconic. I'm just being a little bit of a stickler, and I don't know. Once that fourth one hits, I'll probably, for me, think he's, best of the best, top tier, right up there. But for me, because I just really watched the movies, I don't know. I think Fantastic is still a pretty good place for him. Okay, here we go. Dracula for the second time. This is going to be Christopher Lee's Dracula from the Hammer films. I think he made 6 or 7 appearances. Christopher Lee as Dracula, at least. And yeah, he's, haven't seen every Dracula movie out there, but of the ones I have seen, this guy's my favorite. So yeah, as Dracula, one of his best performances. Christopher Lee's Dracula from the Hammer films, iconic. First of all, for anyone unaware, not the image you see right now, but it does show something that was groundbreaking for a Dracula movie. You got to remember, this was 58. I think this might be from the original, or maybe the sequel. I'm leaning towards the original. Anyways, that blood on his mouth, first time that was seen on Dracula. Because, last one was Bela Lugosi, 31, obviously black and white film. Hot take, Bela Lugosi and me have never really meshed. Not a fan of that portrayal. I know, hot take, but yeah. Christopher Lee has always been my Dracula, and then right below him, as I talked about earlier, Gary Oldman in the 92 version. But yeah, Christopher Lee is incredible, and just the animalistic nature he brought to embodied by this image that he brought to the Hammer films, incredible. And then the later ones, how he becomes more seductive and kind of embraces more of that side of Dracula as well. And then those films are just great. The Hammer films, I'm not saying they're like necessarily great movies, but just like Hammer films are great. So yeah, we're gonna put him right there, an icon. Okay, Frankenstein's monster. Okay, so this is another one. We're kind of a little bit of hot takes right now. Frankenstein's monster is better for me than the original Dracula. We're talking about the movie. Like Frankenstein from 31, 32. It's better than Dracula, but it's also still not the best. Bride of Frankenstein's pretty good. Focusing though on the character. As a villain, Frankenstein's monster. Okay, I kind of feel bad, but I'm gonna have to put him in. I respect you, but I ain't scared. Because it kind of embodies Frankenstein perfectly for me. Like, I respect the character. Like, I haven't seen the new one yet. It's a little bit of a controversial take, but I like him in the 2005 Van Helsing. Once again, nostalgic for that movie. But yeah, I think respect you, but I ain't scared is a fair kind of way to come down on this one. Oh, okay. The Jester from The Jester. Once again, I feel bad. I wanted to include it to kind of talk about this because it was one of your guys' choices. But I kind of have to put him in Who Are You? I've seen like a YouTube short with this guy, I think. It was kind of cool. I like the concept. There was like a little bit of art there, kind of like the mime kind of side, but like less the blood and guts and more just the magic, I'll mess you up kind of thing. But honestly, I Who Are You is kind of the highest I can put. Yeah, I just don't have a lot of experience with the character. And there's like a lot of those films, I think, like 2 or 3 of them. So I don't know. Okay. Here we go. Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise from the 2017, 2019. And then, of course, Welcome to Derry, which I haven't completed. I'm a couple episodes in. I like what I've seen. I haven't seen him yet, but I know he's going to be in there later. But yeah, Pennywise. Oh, shit. Okay, this is where the mix kind of comes in. Okay, for me, that original film, I think it's like on my banner, like from like my channel banner, like the original film, because I love that film. It's fantastic. I remember seeing it in theaters. I remember that experience. Just love it. Still need to read the book, by the way, but just the character of Pennywise, just terrifying. The second one, I'm kind of on the polarized side of that. I like Chapter 2. I'm not calling it a perfect movie. I like Chapter 2. That's just neat. I don't know. I like the adult performances. I like Pennywise in it. I know the ending's not the best. I didn't really like the ending that much. I'm mixed on it. Anyways, but Pennywise, terrifying. And then obviously he's in Welcome to Derry. Haven't seen what he does in that, but hope it's good. Going off of all that, I'm gonna have to do Fantastic. We're gonna have to do Fantastic right there next to Art the Clown. Yeah, because one step above, Tim Curry, definitely for me, a step above that. I just prefer that version. But iconic, it pains me because of how much I love that first one. But I'm gonna keep it Fantastic. Yeah. And then finally, last but not least, we've got Pinhead from the Hellraiser franchise. Pinhead. We're gonna have to do, haven't seen, once again, every movie in the franchise, because I don't know how rough they get, but I've seen like the first 4, plus the 2022 one, and I know what happens in the other ones, roughly. We're gonna have to do Almost Great. Okay. Rough go through the franchise because he's in every single one of them. First 4, okay, first 2, great. Third one, got some fun on that one. Fourth one, more controversial. I like the fourth one, like that storyline, and I like Pinhead in that one. I like Pinhead in 3 and 4 the best. First 2 is less about Pinhead, but he's in there. He's, that's where his most iconic lines come from. Tear your soul apart. But Almost Great because it's just going down. Iconic, based off of the back half of the franchise. I'm sorry. I know he's kind of compared a lot to the other icons like Freddy, Jason, Michael, but if we're being realistic, no. Fantastic, can't do it. Back half of that franchise is rough. First 4 is good. So Almost Great. Largely just because of that franchise, and part of that, unlike the Xenomorph and Michael, where sometimes it's not about them. In some of those movies, it's kind of about Pinhead. He's not the best in some of those movies, so it drags both the movie down and it drags the status of the character down. But yeah, there you go. This is the first time I've done something like this. So there is the tier maker. I'll try to figure out a way of, I know there's a way of doing it, but of sharing the link on my Instagram or something like that, just so you guys can kind of show me your own versions of the tier list with these villains. It's not an exhaustive list. I wanted to mention that before. It's not an exhaustive list. This is far from every horror villain. I just wanted to focus mainly on your choices, kind of giving this back to you guys, the subscribers, because it really means a lot, all the support I've been getting. And then just throw in a few others just to kind of round out the list and give you guys more of a more time with me. But yeah, there we go. I think, I used all the tiers. We kind of well-rounded this. I'm happy it wasn't ending up bookended. It's top-heavy, but it's top-heavy because a lot of these villains are great. A lot of the choices you guys gave me, plus some of the ones I added in, they're great villains. And then I just threw in a few more there, just kind of make this video a little bit more enticing. Anyways, I've rambled on. Let me know what you guys think. Is this too casual? Is the video too long? I kind of see where we're at. Is the video too long? What do you guys think? Do you like more casual Michael? Do you want to see this in the future? Do you want me to adapt something like this when I do future videos? Let me know. I'm trying something out. Hope you guys like it. Yeah, and if you do, could you like, share, subscribe? And until the next time, what's your favorite scary movie?